Sup Dudes, I'm Nate Heater.
And I'm Frank Lamontia.
And we are the Sup Dudes. I didn't say my catchphrase last time, so
Good.
Coming at you from a car in a parking lot. You know what that means? Everyone say it this time with me because I missed it last time. Movie review.
Review time.
It's been forever. I totally forgot how to speak. So this time we saw American Underdog, the story of Kurt Warner. Now, I guess I'll just tell the story right away and then we can mention stars.
Yeah, give a little recap.
So for those of you that don't know about Kurt Warner, he's an NFL Hall of Famer now. And the story basically talks about his life from when he was a child in the very beginning to when he played in college to being a grocery bagger, which is what the big story was about because he was undrafted. And then getting a call from the St. Louis Rams later on. There's a bunch of stuff I'm missing in between, but I don't want to ruin the whole story for you. And basically going on to become an NFL Hall of Famer. And it's basically one of the best, no pun intended, underdog stories of all time when it comes to NFL.
Well, most of these sports type movies are underdog movies, which
Yeah, true.
Me not being a sports fan, I do enjoy these types of movies. So, and that being said, are you done with the recap?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Kurt Warner's played by whoops, I forgot already. Zachary Levi.
He's also Shazam, by the way, if you ever saw the superhero movie Shazam.
Shazam. Okay, his wife is played by Anna Paquin, and one of the coaches is played by Dennis Quaid.
Dennis Quaid.
Those are the major stars in the movie.
Yeah, those are the ones that you probably recognize name-wise.
So, that being said, go ahead, you start. Do you like this? This is your kind of movie.
Yeah, because I'm a big sports guy, and what's really funny is they mentioned the whole fact of like 1 million high school students play high school football every year.
He was one of them.
I was one for a little bit before I got injured. Mm-hmm. But like you said, a lot of these movies are underdog movies and basically overcoming the odds. But I think
otherwise it wouldn't be interesting.
That's true. But I think the story of Kurt Warner needs to be told more. And I know like if you're not a sports fan, it's just one of the things where it's like you're probably not going to care. But I think the overall story of like this dude had to jump through hoops and barrels, people doubting him from the very beginning, and him just basically telling him to shut it and basically overcome the odds. I love the story. I knew the story beforehand. I didn't know everything in the movie. So there was a couple surprises that I was like found with. I'm willing to bet a lot of the story was made up too. Because they always like to do because they always do that with these movies too. They always change certain things.
Because there's not always enough material to fill out a movie, but or be interesting.
I don't know if everything is 100% true. Like I said, I highly doubt it, but whatever. I think overall it was a pretty good movie. I mean, again, I love the story. The football, like in a lot of these sports movies, a lot of them are like really inaccurate.
Yeah.
The football in this movie was actually pretty accurate with like how they would play certain things, how they would do everything in the sport. It's just not one of the things where it's like people playing lackadaisical defense or like not knowing how to actually throw a football. And then they're like, oh, the star quarterback who's going to throw a football has the worst throwing form ever, but throws like 3 touchdowns in a game. Like they actually got Zachary Levi to throw a pretty good football in the movie, as you saw.
Yep.
So I like that too. So I wonder how much training he had to go through, honestly, with that. Mm-hmm. Camera work was nice. Acting was pretty good. Again, like some emotional stories. I mean, I didn't cry. You didn't cry.
I almost cried because it was boring.
But other than that, overall, it was one of those things where it's like, I really enjoyed it as we have people coming next to us. So,
it's all right. Keep going.
No, that's it. That's basically what I have.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, as far as the story needing to be told or, it's an interesting story, but it could have been told with a lot less sappiness. Not that I'm against romantic threads in movies and stuff, but it was a little sappy and pretty cliche.
It's one of those types of movies, though.
In the beginning, I was like, "Oh no," that kind of, and it was like, when are we going to get to the meat of the story?
Yeah.
The beginning was a lot of fluff, pretty much, or it could have been handled with a little more intensity. The beginning stuff to make it seem more important.
Yeah.
But it did start to build, and when it got to about the middle of the movie, it was going fairly nicely. And there's a couple of key little characters in there that are really good, and They will tug at your heartstrings, and but it's all in all, it's I was ready to hate this movie in the first half hour, but it got better. And all in all, it's a good movie.
Before we go on with our bads, you kind of have a little bit of a connection with this movie, don't you?
Do I? Well, yeah, actually. Well, are we gonna? It's not really a spoiler.
No, if you know the story.
If you're a sports fan,
yeah,
it's not really a spoiler. Ultimately, he ends up being in the Super Bowl.
Yep.
And the Rams, the team that finally drafts him.
Back when they were in St. Louis. No, they called them. Yeah,
they called them up.
But back when they were in St. Louis, they're in LA now. But back when they were in St. Louis.
Okay. They ended up playing the Tennessee Titans for the Super Bowl in 2000.
Still in Tennessee.
And I happened to be working in Nashville, where the stadium was that they played, and I actually watched that game on TV while live. So yeah, it was kind of interesting when it came up on the screen because I had no idea. I'm not a sports fan, so I had no idea this was the same game until they put Super Bowl 2010 versus the Titans, 2000 versus the Titans, and I'm like, crap.
I'll bleep it out.
I was there, so not at the game, but in the city.
Yeah,
and I watched the game on TV, and it was
I gave him a little.
It was kind of interesting.
Gave him a little elbow nudge when it happened. They have one really interesting part, and again, like if you know the story of Kurt Warner, like that they won because the Tennessee Titans were stopped 1 yard short of the goal line. Mm-hmm. And like I said, if not, you could easily look that up and find it out in a heartbeat. We're not really ruining anything in the movie. And I think they made this up because I don't think it could work out this way. When he was playing for the Iowa Barnstormers in the Arena Football League in his career, they had a epic foreshadowing where he lost the Arena Bowl because his guy was 1 yard short reaching for the end zone.
Oh, I mean, it's possible. Could be coincidence.
But what I'm saying is, I think they did that for foreshadowing.
Yeah. So you think they made that one up?
I think they did because it'd be too much of it'd be too weird, too crazy of a coincidence.
I don't know how well they keep the arena football records, but
they
may be able to look it up.
So let's get on to the bads. Not a whole lot of bads. I mean, it wasn't a spectacular movie.
No.
So I mean, it's a nice movie. I mean,
it's a feel-good movie.
It's a definite feel-good movie. It's a definite motivational type movie, of course. And like Frank said, very in the beginning it was kind of slow, but we know why. But it could have picked up a little bit faster.
Slow and sappy, and little mugging here and there with the faces. I don't know if that's directing or acting but
both maybe.
Whatever. Not a deal breaker. The overall story kind of takes over, and it's decent movie.
All right. Well, with that, let's get to the ratings.
Okay.
So, I guess I'll go first because I started with the football stuff too.
Yeah.
Again, it was a feel-good movie, like a We Are Marshall, a Rudy, a Blindside type movie. But unlike those, I think those were a lot better than this movie. Sorry, I'm burping from the soda. Not burping because of how bad this movie was, but no, because it was actually a decent movie. So I'm going to give this movie a 7 out of 10. I'll just jump in to say 7 out of 10. Because I think it not tugs at my heartstrings, but it's more meaningful to me because I know the story of Kurt Warner. I saw him play.
Could have been his story.
I saw him play in 2009 when he was with the Cardinals against the Steelers in the Super Bowl, which was his last Super Bowl that he was in. So I knew the story of Kurt Warner. I knew what he had to go through, and I think that's what also made it a lot better of a movie for me, was just being able to see it now portrayed, and I think they really portrayed it really well. But again, one of the feel-good, sappy movies, 7 out of 10.
I think it's kind of weird because, as he was saying, he liked it a lot, and I liked it okay, but I was also thinking 7. So I'm going to leave it at that. I'm not going to downgrade it just because he liked it more than I did, but it is a solid 7.
You know our average score at this point? We'll flash it on the screen quickly. It's kind of easy at this point.
Yes.
I was hoping one of us would have said 6 and the other one said 7 to make 13, which is the number he wore.
Well, next time.
It's too late now. So 14 instead of 13.
There you go.
But, well.
One for luck.
One for good luck, as they always say. Now, we're going to do the same thing like we did last year we're going to wait for 10 movies to be under our belt before we flash up the top 10 list. because we're gonna stick with that tradition,
Right.
and it's less work for me to do right away too.
So right now the list is only 2.
Yeah.
Kingsman at the top.
Yep.
American Underdog number 2.
So if you're watching this, you should know by now that Kingsman was a higher rated movie than this one.
Yes.
But that's because there was more blood, guts, and gore in the Kingsman, and we like that.
Yeah, it was more exciting too. It's not just the explosions and the killings but those are good all the time.
Yep. Don't forget, we are taking suggestions for what movies you want us to see.
Yes.
Whether it be through Facebook Messenger, on Facebook itself.
Yeah. Even if they're not currently in the theaters, we're
yeah.
willing to watch them on streaming and report back to
Yeah.
you.
Or comment down below too about whether or not what movie we should watch. Again, like
Right.
Frank said, old, new.
Or whether if you agree or disagree with our ratings,
Yep.
talk it up. Come on, we need some feedback.
We definitely need some feedback. Well, with that being said, I'm Nate Heater.
And I'm Frank Lamantia.
And we are the Sup Dudes. So long.